Hello and welcome dear viewers to the another interesting topic on scale up and post approval changes. These are also known as SUPAC and we are very well known to the SUPAC guidelines. So this video is based mainly SUPAC for immediate release solid oral formulations. So this is a part 2 of this SUPAC series, and in part 1 we have studied the requirements for changes as per SUPAC guidelines to the composition and the components. And for making the video, I have referred guidance for industry from US FDA, immediate release solid oral formulations, scale up and post approval changes, chemistry, manufacturing and controls, in vitro dissolution testing, and in vivo bioequivalence documentation. So this is the main guideline based on which the SUPAC videos are based. Now see, the phases of drug development are there. First is research and development, that involves lab scale design and development of prototype formula and process. Second is scale up and technology transfer, that is product development lab, TT lab, or it is also for exhibit batches and process qualification. Then validation and commercial production. And the fourth part of the life cycle of the product is scale up and post approval changes. So these scale up and post approval changes comes after the approval of the product and not before the regulatory approval of the product. That's why the name is post approval changes. It is in the life cycle of the formulation. So changes to the components and composition we have studied in part 1. The link will be given in the description. So watch that also to have in-depth understanding of the basic of SUPAC guidelines and changes to the components and composition. Then in this video mainly we will see the changes to the site of manufacture, changes to the scale up and scale down of the batch size. So that means increase or decrease in the batch size. Then the third video will be on changes to the manufacturing process and the manufacturing equipments. So changes to the site of manufacture. So see, once the product is started manufacturing at the site of manufacturing, and if that manufacturing site is required to be changed, then these SUPAC guidelines are applicable for the changes to the site of manufacture. So change in the location or site of the manufacture, and this type of SUPAC changes do not include any scale up changes, changes in the manufacturing including or changes in the components or composition. So these are dealt separately. Now new manufacturing locations should have a satisfactory current good manufacturing practices CGMP inspection. So whatever the new site is introduced for the product, that should be CGMP compliant. Then changes to the manufacturing site, level 1 changes. Site changes within a single facility where the same equipment, SOPs, environmental conditions and controls and personnel. That means the level 1 changes involve site changes within a single facility. It is not a change from one facility to other facility. It is a change within facility. There are no changes to the manufacturing batch records except for administrative information and location of the facility. Suppose in one manufacturing site the granulation area get changed to the from granulation 1 to granulation 2, so that will be the level 1 change, because all the batch manufacturing records will be same, personnels will be same, and the SOPs will be same. Then environmental controls and personnels will also be same, and it is common is defined as employees already working on the campus who have suitable experience with the manufacturing process. So there is very less chance of the change. That's why it is coming under the level 1 change. What are the requirements if level 1 change is done? Chemistry documentation is none beyond the application compendial release requirements, that is the COA generation. Then dissolution requirements also none, but none beyond the application compendial release requirements. This is also the COA generation and the dissolution for COA. Then no bioequivalence requirement is there, and this change is documented into the annual report of the product. So this is regarding the level 1 change for the site of manufacture. Then coming to the level 2 change. Now in level 2 change, the site changes within the contiguous campus or between facilities in the adjacent city blocks. The definitions of these things are studied in the video 1, part 1. Here see the site 2 changes where the same equipments are there, SOPs will be same, environment and conditions will be same, personnel common to the both manufacturing sites are used, and where no changes are made to the manufacturing batch records. But here the change is from building 1 to building 2 in the contiguous campus between the facility in the adjacent city blocks. Then coming to the level 2 changes requirements, chemistry documentation requirement, location of new site and updated batch records, none beyond the application, compendial release requirements, and one batch on long-term stability is required to be kept, and the data is reported into the annual report of the formulation or the annual report of the drug product. Then dissolution documentation, none beyond the application, compendial release requirements, no in vivo bioequivalence required. Filing is done through the changes being effected supplement, that is CBE. I will be making separate video on the CBE, that is changes being effected, which involves CBE 0 and CBE 30. So here CBE means changes being effected supplement will be there, and the long-term stability data will be included in the annual report. So the SUPAC level 3 change means from changing the manufacturing site from, for example, USA to Canada or from India to USA, and the test documentation required will be there. Location of new site to be updated into the batch records. Application compendial release requirements. Then stability requirements will be based on the significant body of the data, whether it is available or not available. Then one batch with 3 months accelerated stability is required, and it is reported into the supplement, that is CBE. One batch on long-term stability data reported in the annual report. Then significant body of data, if it is not available, then 3 batches with 3-month accelerated stability data to be reported into supplement. Up to 3 batches on long-term stability data required to be reported into the annual report. So based on this availability of the significant data, the requirement can be increased or decreased. Also the site level 3 changes may involve site change from one location to the another location, from Mumbai to Delhi. Like this changes will come into the level 3 changes. Then dissolution documentation. It involves the requirement of case B dissolution, which involves multi-point dissolution profile, and it is required to be performed in the application compendial medium at 15, 30, 45, 60 and 120 minutes or until an asymptote is reached. The dissolution profile of the drug product at the current and the proposed site should be similar. So the old site product will be the reference product to compare the new site product. In vivo bioequivalence is not required. Filing documentation requirement is changes being effected supplement is required, and annual report with the long-term stability data is required. Then coming to the changes to the batch size. Now here 10 times 10x 10 plus I have shown to understand what is the impact of this 10 times. So let's see that changes to the batch size level 1 changes. Post approval changes in the size of the batch from pivotal or pilot scale bio batch material to larger or smaller production batches call for the submission of additional information in the application. So change in the batch size is level 1 change is the scale down below the production level batch or scale up from pilot batch to the production level batch. and scale down below 1 lakh dosage units is not covered by this guideline. All scale up changes should be properly validated and where needed inspected by the appropriate agency personnel. So this is the requirement. Now we will see what are the exact requirement for the scale up changes. Change in the batch size up to and including a factor of 10 times. This is very much important. 2. The size of the pilot pivotal biobatch, where the equipment used to produce the test batch or batches is the same design and operating principle. The batches are manufactured in full compliance with the CGMP. This is very normal requirement of CGMP compliance, and the same standard operating procedures, controls as well as the same formulation and manufacturing procedures are used on the test batch, and the same procedures will be used for the full scale production batch. The simple meaning of this slide is that if your pilot or pivotal batch or EB batch or bio batch was with the batch size of 1.5 lakhs, then considering the 10 times factor, you can manufacture the production batch size of 15 lakhs. And if you manufacture beyond that batch size, it will go to the level 2. And if the production batch is below 10x of the pilot or pivotal bio batch, then it will be level 1 change, provided that the same equipments, same SOPs and same manufacturing procedures and controls should be there for the higher batch size batch manufacturing. Then what are the documentation required for level 1 changes? Chemistry documentation, application, compendial release requirement, notification of change and submission of updated batch records in the report. So here also CBE are required. One batch on long-term stability reported in the annual report. Dissolution is none beyond the application compendial release requirements. No in vivo bioequivalence study is required, and filing documentation is done in the annual report with long-term stability data. Then coming to the level 2 changes. Changes in the batch size beyond a factor of 10 times the size of the pilot or bio batch, where the equipments used to produce the test batch is of same design and the operating principles. The batches complies with the CGMP requirement. The same SOPs and controls as well as the same formulation and manufacturing procedures are used on the test batches and on the full scale production batches. So here also all the requirements are same as per level 1 batch size change. Only the change is that here the batch size is increasing more than the 10 times. So if your pilot batch size, as I have explained earlier, is 1.5 lakhs, now here the batch size will be more than 15 lakhs. Then it will come to the level 2. Requirements for the batch size changes with level 2. What are the documentation required? So chemistry documentation requirement are application compendial release requirements, notification of change and submission of updated batch records. These are called as CBE. So changes being effective. The CBE are of two types, CBE 0 and CBE 30. So CBE 0 means the applicant will directly implement the change and can market the product, and CBE 30 means the applicant will make the change and the applicant will notify to the agency for the changes, and within 30 days the agency may accept or reject the change. That is called as CBE 0 and CBE 30. Then stability testing is one batch with the 3 months accelerated stability data and one batch on the long-term stability conditions. Then dissolution documentations require case B testing. See here, as the level changes from 1 to 2, the requirements get increased. Now in level 1 there was no additional requirement for dissolution, but in level 2 there is a requirement of multi-point dissolution profile in the application compendial medium at 15, 30, 45, 60 and 120 minutes or until and asymptomatic reach for the proposed and the currently accepted formulation. That dissolution profile should be compared from the formulation before change and the formulation with change or after change. In vivo bioequivalence requirement is none. Then filing documentation requirements are changes being effected supplement CBE and annual report with long-term stability data. So always remember that for IR products generally with the SUPAC level changes bioequivalence is not required until it is a narrow therapeutic drug, and generally filing documentation is required, changes being effected and annual report. And if there is a requirement of the bioequivalence or requirement of PAS, that is prior approval supplement, that time the level may be 3. Level 3 changes will require the PAS and the bioequivalence data. So this is regarding the changes to the manufacturing site and the batch size. So I hope you have got a good understanding out of this video. These SUPAC level questions are always asked into the interviews to have the clarity that applicant is knowing about these things or knowing about the product life cycle or not. So keep watching the video series on SUPACs. In video 1 we have understood the basics of SUPAC guideline and changes to the composition and the components. In the upcoming video, the remaining topic of manufacturing equipment change and process change will be discussed in detail. Thanks for watching the videos.